So today I'm going to read on of your request of what Brian Laundrie's parents, just to look at them and see what they feel toward Gabby, why they're doing this. It's prolonging their son's problems and making them worse. Not a good choice, but let's just see what we can get, what the tarot, what the creator is willing to share with us about Brian Laundrie's parents from the universal perspective. And let me see how they feel about Gabby. So that was the first question a viewer had, was how do they feel about Gabby with doing this? I mean, so we're going to take a look and see if we can discern that. And as always, I ask for the Most High to guide, lead, and direct me, and help me to read accurately and clearly. So I'm going to throw this in a Celtic cross and ask what we need to know about Brian Laundrie's parents and how they feel about Gabby, and anything else the universe wants to share with regard to Brian Laundrie's parents, Christopher and Roberta Laundrie. Excuse me. Now, Christopher is his father, and he is, I believe, 62. His mother is Roberta. She is said to be 55 years old. And their attorney is Steve Valentino. They live in Northport, Florida. How did Brian's parents feel about Gabby? How do Brian Laundrie's parents feel about Gabby Petito? Before and now. Okay. We get the Seven of Cups delusion. And this is them trying to think of possibilities. So the card that is covering them is delusion. Either they thought she was deluded and flaky, maybe, had a lot of creative ideas, but maybe struggled to pick one and follow it through. That's a possibility. We'll have to see the other cards. But this may also be about them, not their perception. And I have to think that some of their own perception is skewed. Let's just see what we get. But this is what they think about her. All right. This is okay. We are picking up on it. This is the Lovers, and they see the Lovers in a challenged position, so they recognize that I think you have two very emotional people. And there's a problem with delusion, that both of them may lack clarity. But they definitely, I think, thought that she did. Or could. But I strongly feel like they themselves are deluded. I mean, look what they're doing. Anyhow, the basis of the reading is the Ten of Cups. This is family. I think that they actually cared for her, but they care more for their immediate family. She is not blood. Okay? So there's a definite kind of that going on with this family. I feel like the loyalty of family is to immediate, to blood family, and not a supportive, they're going to always support him to the hilt, is what I get with that Ten of Cups. The Fool, yeah, they are crowned by the Fool. They are crowned by taking big risks and desperate for some kind of opportunity, I think, to get their son, to keep their son from getting to face consequences. But it's foolish and it's dangerous. I also think they could have seen Gabby as naive, not realizing the trouble ahead that could happen with that kind of a relationship. So it seems like they were aware that this relationship was troubled, and that perspective in particular, it's just like they're on, I feel like, a totally different wavelengths as well. But I think they had a perception of her as being young, and she was extremely young, and a bit green, naive about the world, but also somebody that liked adventure, somebody that was willing to take those risks too, because they liked new things, to experience a different, journey. There's the Queen of Swords. That's Brian's mom. She comes up no matter what deck I use as the Queen of Swords. And here we're getting, and part of the problem is the way I picked up the card, but is the Five of Swords. Now I picked it up reversed. But to me, this is bullying. This is futile. I think they felt kind of like their hands were tied with this relationship. I think they knew that this was not a healthy relationship, but that Gabby and Brian were very attached, but to a very codependent, unhealthy relationship. I think that the parents knew it was not a healthy relationship. I don't see that anything of like, oh, they didn't like her. I do think that they saw her, and probably their son, as both being very naive, very naive. And I think this is to the point that this mother feels like she's got to direct and control some things within that relationship, especially where I think her son gets his way. She knows that I think he can be a certain kind of way. I do think she knows that. But I think that she feels like Gabby could also be the aggressor. But I think deep in her heart of hearts, she knows that her son has problems. I still think she's going to blame Gabby for Gabby's way of being naive and triggering him, or I don't know. That wouldn't surprise me just by the look of these cards. But trying to kind of say, well, but it's not her fault, but I just, I don't like getting that feeling, and that's the feeling I'm getting. I think that they knew that there were physical, definitely verbal issues that were really bad going on. I also think her mother, not her mother, but Brian's mother wants to try to redirect this on her, on Gabby. I do. I think she wants to, but it's futile because her son has done this either, way. Something he did contributed to her death. And if he didn't report it, why not? And they should have taken him in and reported it as soon as they knew. I mean, his poor judgment is just a reflection, it seems, of theirs. Here is the Queen of Pentacles. This is nature, Mother Nature. This may also be, for all I know, Gabby's mother. Or part of Gabby, a certain aspect of her. I think, this is also the traveling in the parks and whatnot. I don't think his parents liked the idea, to be honest. I think they've had reservations for a long time about this relationship. They know it wasn't good. Particularly the mother seems very involved. Brian's mother, always coming up. And I do think that she and Brian are very bonded. I mean, she is his mother, but she's not directing him at all in the right way. I think they had hope that this trip would go okay. I think they had really concerns. But they hoped that they'd somehow get through it and it would be okay. I think they must have been getting a lot of, specifically, I think Brian to his mother, complaints about them not getting along, or his complaints about Gabby. I feel like she was aware somehow, so I think he was letting her know what was going on. Wouldn't be terribly surprising. Now, the Hierophant is the ethical thing, doing the right thing. It is traditional belief. It is the law. And from what I understand, his mother works for a law firm, or has worked for a law firm. So this makes me feel like they're trying to figure out with their attorney how they can protect him, what they can do. And I think you see this labyrinth. It's a plan. I think that they've concocted this plan to have Brian go on the run for a certain amount of time. This is not haphazard. There is definite thought behind this, and more than you think. Very actually trying to, I think, kind of manipulate to get the better of what they think legally they might be able to claim, or some, you know what I'm saying, that it's going to somehow make them have an advantage. That's what they're hoping for. And what they're definitely afraid of is the law actually holding them to account, or any law that could hold them to account. Because what they've done is not morally correct. And it shows that they know it in that hopes and fears area. There's awareness. I get the Three of Cups. Great deal of emotion. And I was asking how they felt about her. Well, that would make me feel, the end of the day, it's still making me feel like the father, the mother, and Brian are as one. For better or for worse, literally. They're unified. That Three of Cups is usually some sense of accomplishment. Let's just pull on that, because it's kind of strange, especially with the other cards around it. Here we have the Eight of Pentacles. This is learning how hands-on to get better at doing something, increasing your skill. I think this is the idea that they thought that would be good, would be Brian doing this, maybe because they have hope, you know, that one area that he's got a great deal of skill. But at the same time, I think they also, on some level, want this to end. But with this Eight of Pentacles and Justice, I do think that they want to try to take advantage to a certain degree of knowledge of the law. I got that before with that Hierophant. And this could be that in the eyes of the law, that they're going to be in trouble, not just for obstructing, but there's going to be members of that family, and the finesse of what they were doing is much more detailed, is much more involved than just a little bit of help. Okay, that's what is showing here. So I think the law is going to have something on them to really consider, because the level and the type of involvement is going to be beyond just basic help. That's what I'm getting from this. This is really kind of, they tried to make the effort here to make sure that he was secure, to protect him, yes, because they know that he's not what he appears to be. They know he's got problems, and they know that people might not comprehend him, that he does not, there's deceit. So, and they are deceitfully involved in hiding him and want to protect him. They're also giving, I believe, again with this card, false information. This could be the false tips, things like that, misleading. Definitely about that one place. Oh yeah, go look in this greenery over here. Oh look, you know. Go waste taxpayers' money over here, and while our son gets, you know, a head start. So that deception with them, and with the Justice card here, makes me feel definitely like I don't think that they're going to be so secure in not being able to be charged, because the level and the degree, I think you also have other states being involved in this, you know, so there's other places, laws to consider that you're breaking if you go into another state and you're helping your son that's on the run. You know, I'm sure there's something there. I feel like this also is they are trying to protect him because they know that he's not as capable as he acts, that a lot of it is a front, and that he's a very insecure person. They also know he has a habit of not being completely forthcoming. There's something about that here, too. So they're trying to protect him. They're trying to protect him from the law. This is defense. Very strong defense. I think that, you know, their son is paramount, and it's weird, this family. The feeling is she's like family, or she would have been, but because things went the way they did, it's just the way they feel that that's unfortunate for her. She kind of didn't know the danger she was in, because they know that he's got some part of him that is hidden, you know, that can come out and is not as he appears. Mr. Nice Guy Brian, yeah, they know better. I think they also see her, this may be also that they saw her as somebody that would challenge him, and that, or they may have thought that she needed to stand up for herself more to him. I'm not quite sure, but regardless, they're definitely, for sure, protecting their son, for sure. And they're having to alter their lives and reevaluate this at some point, this defense of him, or they should be. This is going to change their lives, is what it's saying, in a very significant fashion. I mean, it's already happened. It's just a matter of once Brian's caught and then them being held to account. They may not get like a big, heavy... I will look at that. Kind of a consequence, but I think there's some consequence coming because of this card saying that's just too much. This effort was too involved and repeated with that 8 of Pentacles, repeatedly done. So I also feel like the 3 could be the sister, the mom and the dad helping. You know, they're a united front. Because they're trying to protect their family, and they're going to lawyer up and see what they can, how things fall, okay? And see if what falls in their advantage, whatever that they can find. And I think the lawyers definitely, they're talking to him. He's aware of what they're doing. But here's the corruption. Here's that, you know, putting everybody, not just Gabby and her parents, but then the whole community through this very oppressive corruption. People just want peace, you know, to know the truth, to be able to have peace. And the truth is, I think that he killed her and he left her, according to this card, these two, the Four of Swords and the Devil, you know, some very oppressive violence went on. The two of them had a toxic relationship, though they were drawn to each other. And this makes me feel like he's very ill and needs to be in a hospital. I mean, like that kind of ill, mentally. Just not, this is the kind that doesn't usually get better. This is somebody that's corrupt for life at this point. And I know that that must be horrible for their family to know, but it is. It's, the devil is there. There's corruption. And it means somebody's gotten away with getting their way while other people suffer. That person has been made, their wants and wishes and desires are paramount. So he's spoiled. But mostly this was a toxic relationship, and where people needed to be away from each other and healing. This just makes me feel, though, again, with regard to Brian, he's much more sick than they realize. Much more sick than they realize. He's not just got a little bit of a problem telling the truth. I think there's a lot of denial going on in his family. He is an actual threat. He should not be free to have, I'm sorry, relationships, because it looks to me like he does not know how to be nice. He does not know how to compromise. Everything is, this is overbearing. I think it was making Gabby more sick. Definitely. Control, wants to control the narrative, wants to, I think, definitely here with this Eight of Swords, wants to limit their involvement, you know, as well. So I think in the way that he communicates, he's articulate, he's smart, he is not stupid, but he thinks that we're all going to believe the same crap that he tells his parents. And I think he's in for a rude awakening. Because his account and what he's sharing is going to be very limited. Of course, he doesn't want to give too much away, but I just feel like there's manipulation to restrict and confine. But there is also communication that is restricted. And it could be on different tools, different devices. So he could have had his back and forth with his parents in a, encrypted or something like that. Something about encryption here. And communication. And also I feel like withholding a great deal. So I think that they will bring him in, they will get his things, but I think they will be, a lot of it could end up being encrypted in some way, and they're going to have to try to crack that or something. That really comes through. How interesting with the Magician and the Eight of Swords. Yeah, there's a delay, probably around trying to get that figured out. Yes, the Emperor. Now, I think this is authorities, but authorities will just need to look at this code from a different perspective, and they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. And then he's going to be very, very worried with the Nine of Swords and the Eight of Wands. Ooh, this makes him angry. Once they've unlocked the information on what he thought was secured, ooh, buddy, someone's going to have a meltdown, big time, big time. This is meltdown energy. If this was a little kid, I'd say, prepare, Mom. Tommy's going to have a tantrum. But this is him. He's going to lose his you-know-what. And there's the World, I think, because that will tell the truth. That will kind of bring the chapter to a close of what really happened. It's the nail in the coffin is what I also heard. And the Two of Pentacles, extremes. It's going to, I think, also show the back and forth communication, the extremes of thought, perhaps the instability, but definitely his movements, his communication with his parents, I believe, will be unlocked, and other people, anyone else who was involved. That is very interesting. So I ask about Gabby and how they feel about her, and she's almost like a second, like a who. It's like they just feel like she was a naive girl that got involved with their son, and it was an unhealthy relationship, and this unfortunate thing happened, so they've got to hide him now. Rather than, really what would be better for him is he's really sick. He needs to be in a mental hospital unit where, if you really cared about him, and Gabby, that's where he should be. Honestly, getting that kind of care he needed. All right, so that was the bell you just heard for my deep dive on Gabby, because she wanted to communicate a message. is ready. So I'm going to close this out. I think this suffices. I think it's very interesting. And we just give it time and let it breathe and wait and see what happens. And let's hope for the best for truth and justice. And if you appreciate this content, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and hit those notifications on. Thank you.